Football is back. Minshew Mania is back. If you don't know, I am currently the Jags ambassador for Fan to Fan Network. So I'm going to be covering a lot of Jags stuff on my channel. So I'm Steven Lagardelle, also known as What's Crackalackin'. It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. We're going to be going over the Jags season opener against the Colts, and I know a lot of Jags fans are like gloom and doom. They may be tanking. Some of them maybe are in disbelief, like, no, they're not tanking. Minshew, Gardner freaking Minshew, Uncle Rico himself is like, heck nah, we ain't tanking. So it's very important to start off the season on the right foot, so they need a W here. And I'm here to tell you that this is a very winnable game. And we'll go into what the Jags need to do to really just win this game. And I think this game's not a foregone conclusion by any means. Like the Colts, yes, it's a bit scary. They are a much more well-rounded team. Now they have Phillip Rivers, who kind of struggled the past few seasons with the Chargers, but now it's like, oh, he's in a better environment, better offensive line. But we'll really get into that. Let's really just open this up with what do the Jags need to do offensively to win this game. And their plan attack, honestly, it'll be centered around Jay Gruden introducing this modern West Coast type of offense to the team. I don't think they're going to rely heavily on the run. They don't have any bangers in that backfield. I know James Robinson is the starter, but don't get so high on James Robinson coming out of the draft. He's an undrafted free agent. You didn't know, out of Illinois State. And this was my draft profile on him, was he's basically like a mini fridge. You throw down the stairs. That's how he kind of bounces off contact. He probably like to attack the B and C gaps on the line of scrimmage, but he doesn't. It's not like he goes through those holes with explosion. There's really not much speed to his game. He ran a 4.64 at the combine, so there's not a lot of speed to his game. He's not a home run threat. Where he does win is, like I said, he's like a mini fridge. You throw down the freaking stairs. That's how he kind of bounces off contact. He kind of pinballs himself. He's not really shrugging off contact. And it's going to be tough for him to get, like, this is a very good defensive line for the Colts. I mean, they have very solid run defenders in DeForest Buckner, Justin Houston, even in Grover Stewart, who probably won't. He'll probably be a guy that they rotate in and out. But if they're really gonna succeed, where they really need to attack, first off, the offensive line needs to step up. Cam Robinson, you were one of the best run blocking tackles. There we go. In the league until last season. Last season, he put out an absolute pooper. He was terrible, basically at all things tackle. So he needs to play better, and they just need him. They need prime Cam Robinson. Andrew Norwell, he's solid enough, but they need to attack those B and C gaps. So they should definitely attack the way of like a Ben Banigou. Who else is on that line? Danico Autry, who are kind of like their Muhammad, who guys that aren't as good run defenders as Justin Houston, Forrest Buckner, basically the rest of the defensive line. And I mean, they kind of lucked out because Kamiko Ture, he's out for like the first 6 weeks. He's on IR, so. I mean, I don't think by any means they're going to be attacking a lot with the run game. I would expect maybe 10 to 15 carries from Robinson. I think they're going to use a lot of the short passing game to set up much. They're going to use it a lot on early down. So how are they going to move? I think they should be happy if they get 4 to 7 yard gains on the ground. I wouldn't expect a big game from Robinson. If you're thinking, oh, he's going to be a sleeper in your fantasy, you're dead wrong. You're dead wrong. He's not a home run threat by any means. So what they need to do to win is definitely, it's going to be through the short passing game. That's what Gruden comes in and introduces. He loves screens. He loves those like short angle routes, and he kind of does this to bring the defense up, to set up basically these vertical shots every now and then. And that's a great thing, I think, for Minshew, because he doesn't have the greatest arm strength. He kind of has a noodle for an arm when it comes to arm strength, but he's an extremely accurate quarterback, and he was very successful last year when they took those calculated surgical shots downfield, primarily to DJ Chark. I mean, he went I have it here somewhere, on throws of 20 yards or more. He went 24 of 49 for 818 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So if they take those calculated shots, that's great, but they need to set them up first. The focal of their passing attack should be Xavier Rhodes. He was awful last season for the Vikings. It's okay, it's a fresh start, but they should really try to set up mismatches for him. Maybe get Chark on him every now and then. I think primarily Chris Conley is gonna end up being the guy that lines up on Rhodes' side. But that's perfect, because you could sprinkle in a little bit of Laviska Shenault Jr., who his game is the screen and the long ball. So I think they should take a similar tactic as the Saints did in the wild card playoffs last year against Minnesota, where they would they took, I think it was Deontay Harris. They would just tire Rhodes out with these long balls. They would sprinkle in a little bit of Michael Thomas to keep Rhodes honest, and they would eventually hit on those long bombs. So if they could tire him out and then attack, they could do a lot of different things here with the rotation of Conley and Shenault. I think Chenault's going to be a very prime playmaker here. They need to get stuff going underneath. Kenny Moore is one of the toughest slot corners in football, especially against the run, actually, too. I mean, don't expect the run game to be a factor here. They got Darius Leonard, who's one of the better run defending linebackers. Like, there's, even if they get a hole, there is like virtually Robinson's going to be done at the second level. We're going to see a lot of Chris Thompson this game, who's actually very familiar with Jay Gruden, playing with him for the last few years. But absolutely, they need to get mismatches on Moore, which means a lot of pre-snap motion with D.D. Westbrook. I think ideally they want to get Tyler Eifert lined up on Moore, who Eifert, he has like 9 inches on him. He has 60 pounds on Moore. So if they can somehow create that, even if it's motioning your tight end to the outside, like it works. It really does work. So if they could get that, I mean, you get a guy with a huge catch radius on a smaller slot corner, then that's an easy 6-yard slant or such. So they need to create those mismatches underneath and on the outside, primarily focused at Rhodes. And this is why I say if they could successfully move the ball, they might not need to score a ton of points for the most part. Because looking at their attack defensively, I mean, okay, let's call a spade a spade. This defense is not fabulous. It's a very young defense. And I mean, I don't think this defense by any means got better against the run, which I think the Colts are going to try to utilize a ton, especially early with Jonathan Taylor and maybe late in the game with Marlon Mack. So it's going to be very tough. That's a very good offensive line. It's going to be tough to get pressure, even with Josh Allen, and Smoot, maybe even with Levon Chazon sprinkling in there a little bit. It's going to be tough to get consistent pressure. That's why the offense being able to move, being able to effectively have these long drives down the field is very key, because Phillip Rivers will be the key to how this game goes when it comes defensively. Because Phillip Rivers, I think the offense, they just need to score more than 24 points. If this defense could hold the Colts to 24 points, they can win this game. And Phillip Rivers, man, last season, him and the Chargers, they only eclipsed 24 points. Only scored 24 points or more on 5 games. You'd be like, well, he's working with a better offensive line. He's not working with better playmakers, though. He had Keenan Allen. He had Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler, Hunter Henry, Mike Williams. Compare that to the weapons. Doyle. Okay, Doyle's fine. T.Y. Hilton. Yeah, that's pretty good. Naheem Hines is pretty good, but he's not Austin Eckler in the passing game. But then after that, what? They're going to start Zach Pascal. You got to expect Harris Campbell, who's coming off basically a redshirt season, his rookie year. I mean, maybe they get Michael Pittman involved. I don't know. Like I said, Pascal's currently listed as a starter. So maybe this offense, at least from a passing perspective, isn't going to be nearly as good as we expect them to be. I think Frank Reich, he's going to try to control the flow of this game with the run game. He's going to just try to have like long drives. He's going to try to win the possession, the game clock. So honestly, if the Jags, their plan of attack on defense should be pray that the offense can keep scoring. Put pressure on Phillip Rivers, because guess what? Phillip Rivers under pressure, not necessarily like actually physically under pressure, but knowing he's coming from behind is the Phillip Rivers you want. That's just prime Phillip Rivers. I mean, if you're the opposing team, because look at it, like playing from behind against the Chiefs last season. I think it was week 11. He ended up throwing 4 picks in that game. And you'd be like, well, that's the Chiefs. Okay, let's go the week before against the Raiders. Would you say the Raiders last season was an above average, maybe a Super Bowl team? No, by no means were they. But Phillip Rivers choked in that game. And I hate saying choke because I like Phillip Rivers a lot. I think he is a very good starting quarterback. But he ended up throwing 3 picks in that game. The defense wasn't great either. So if this Jags team could get up early, maybe even get up 2 scores early, and they have to force Phillip Rivers to have to make plays, that might work well. I mean, this Jags team, supposedly they're supposed to sprinkle a little bit more man coverage in here, which bodes well for Trey Hurdon. And I mean, CJ Henderson, he has all the tools, so they might be good on the outside there. And we know Joe Schubert and Miles Jack, supposedly, I know last year was a down year for him, but those are very fast, very good coverage linebackers. And I mean, in their own right, you also got Josh Jones being the starter. I know he's a bit of a journeyman this early in his career. I think he's entering his 4th season, but he didn't play a lot of snaps last year. But the year before with Packers, he was actually pretty solid before they just gave up on him altogether. So I mean, that's just a little tidbit. A little hope for optimism from the safety position. But I think this needs to be the plan attack. Try to take advantage of Xavier Rhodes. Hope that the run game could just get enough. But yeah, take advantage of Xavier Rhodes. Show him different looks and different receivers constantly. Try to get that mismatch with Kenny Moore, with Tyler Eifert, and take those, like I said, those calculated downfield shots with Chark, with Chenault, and they could win this game. Keep in mind, Minshew's a very accurate quarterback. He's a very good decision maker too. You saw it last year. He was like that with Washington State with Mike Leach, because that whole offense Mike Leach creates. It's based on creating space and making the right decisions. Minshew is a great decision maker. So if they're able to do that, if they're able to really get those mismatches, I really think that this Jags team could come out and win against the Colts. I'm just being optimistic. I don't think this game is, like I said, a foregone conclusion, and you shouldn't either. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. It's always much appreciated, much obliged, and until next time, be easy, my friends. Later.